Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. It's your girl Savvy Wavy 1 with Keltie O'Connor, and we have a very special guest that is very near and dear to my heart. It's LittleTFitness. Taylor, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
We're great. Where did the little T come from?
So when I was younger, there was another girl at my gym club who was named Taylor as well. So then I was just smaller than her, so I was little Taylor.
And it just stuck to make an Instagram handle.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a good name.
When people see you and meet you in person, do they call you Taylor or do they call you Little T?
They'll call me Little T or they'll just call me Little because some people don't see the T. So they'll just be like, Little Fitness. Yeah.
Oh, that's a Little Fitness. Hi, Little. You're like,
yeah. I'm like, but there's a T.
Yeah. You're like, but actually, my name is Taylor. But you kind of have a Hannah Montana persona. That's I think a superpower that you don't have your actual name as the handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you can kind of be incognito if you want.
Yeah, for the longest time, people just made up what the T stood for. They were like Tina, Tracy, literally I would literally get emails from brands being like, hey, Tracy, love your profile. And I was like, who's Tracy? Not me.
I love that, Tina.
We should all bring back, because remember Instagram, YouTube, everyone had crazy handles. That used to be a thing. You had Observe, it'd be Leaf Lover 89. And do you know what I mean? Now it's so professional. I'm jealous. Yours is not your name. I was like, we should all bring that back.
I agree.
Incognito.
Why do you think we call each other on the podcast Savvy Wavy 1 and KOC?
Yeah.
Oh, it's your alter egos. We love it.
It is.
I might change my handle to KOC. Might just go do it.
You should. I
Do
bet
it.
you have to pay big bucks to get KOC.
Oh, yeah, probably.
If you think about it, you know how some people
own
the rights
Facts.
to them? Or not own the rights. They just have the handle.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah.
And you'll be
and you have to pay for it. You have to be like, hey, can you delete your account so I can have it?
Yeah. Yes. It's wild. Yeah. Well, Taylor, I'm curious. I don't think I've even really heard this. What got you into fitness and posting? You have kind of taken off recently on your accounts, and what kind of jolted you into going into social media and also just loving fitness and sharing your mobility routines and things like that?
So back in university, I was on the cheerleading team, and it was my first time ever being part of a team sport. So for me, I was really nervous that I was going to let people down. So that was my entry into fitness because I wanted to make sure I had the proper endurance and strength and everything. And then I just wanted to be more consistent in the gym. So I was like, let me just post stuff. And I created my account and kept it so private. I didn't want anyone to find it, didn't tell anyone about it. And honestly, my entire social media account, the way it started was just for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to post a TRX exercise or me doing handstands. And I didn't think anyone would literally care. And then I just started doing more challenges and following people who did very similar movements to me. And then it just kind of grew from there. But yeah, it was all an accident. When I made my account, I was never ooh, I want to be a fitness influencer or a content creator. I was like, cool, I just have a second account that's hidden.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And then what was it I guess? Because you kind of took off fast with it. I guess what was that like for you when you were kind of more private about it? And then you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's seeing this.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think when I was approaching 10K, I was like, all I want in the entire world is 10K. Once I hit 10K, I will quit social media. I don't even care anymore. Because I was just so excited to reach a number where it was not just the 7,000, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then once I hit 10K, I guess it just started growing and building from there. Just more people doing those mobility challenges and stuff like that. And then I grew from 10K to 100K within a year. And then from 100 to a million just over a year. So that was just crazy growth that I wasn't expecting. But I think it is definitely the challenges that I do. And I always repost everyone. I'm very interactive with my following. So I think that was a huge help as well. But it was definitely a shock because I never thought I'd even have 2 people follow me, to be honest. I was just doing it for myself.
Your best of both worlds that watching your content is just super just impressive. Sometimes you just watch things because you're this is crazy. Whether someone doing tricks, you fall into that, but then at the same time stuff that's wait, I want to try and do that. And then on the third time, you have this community aspect that you said, people just trying to do challenges. So you have this full 3 it makes complete sense that you blew up. I was it's more I'd be shocked if you didn't. You are just the magic sauce.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate that.
And I have to ask, and I always find this interesting because we were even talking to some other girls that we're friends with in the fitness community. I feel we've all been kind of in it for a couple of years now. And like, I feel it's changed, especially since like COVID. But what do you feel is like the biggest change like you've even experienced? Because you're not in the classic, just here are my workouts. Like you kind of have your own niche. So I wonder how you've noticed the fitness industry, whether online or in person, has changed kind of over the last 5 or so years.
I feel like the fitness industry now, unfortunately, has lost a lot of its creativity, you know, with TikTok, because TikTok is such a platform where it's very much like see the trend, do the trend, and that's how things go viral with the sounds and whatever. And so now people, when you're scrolling on your explore page or whatever it is, it's the same sounds, the same trends, and it just feels very like oversaturated with the same things. Whereas before, I feel like people would post whatever they wanted and just kind of like if it blew up, it blew up. Whereas now people are like actively trying to be a little bit more strategic about it, which I think is a little bit more unfortunate. I just feel it's like not as fun as it used to be.
I'd agree. I feel all platforms have gotten very like analytical, like YouTube especially. It's like the Mr. Beastification. It's like, how do we like make this like for, it's all retention. It's all making people watch. It's what's the trend, hop on the trend, versus before it was just like, oh, this is a cool idea. And people had a bit more, like you said, wiggle room to be creative versus a bit more copy and paste.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like. It just feels like, oh, I saw this on this creator's account and then 10 million other people's creators' accounts.
Yeah. And you are also getting back into the bodybuilding world.
I am. I'm on
How do you feel
day
about that?
5 of prep. Honestly, I feel pretty good. I mean,
Yep.
it's only day 5, so bear with me. By day whatever, it's going to be a lot harder. But I think because I took the time that I needed to get back into it, and now I'm in a mental place where, like, one, I'm okay to like be a little bit uncomfortable, but two, I have a much more positive outlook towards competing now. So I think that's why it's a little bit better for me to get back into it now. And I also have the time and the means to make it more enjoyable for myself, where I'm not just like working 50-hour weeks and like suffering, both mentally and physically.
And I think you're in the best, I'm going to sound, I don't want to hate on anyone else, but you're definitely in the best category of bodybuilding, because you also have like, not that they don't have a talent with posing and all that, but you have a full, it's so impressive that you're doing the bodybuilding and you do a routine and everything. And so it's like, you're actually like, I feel the other one is just how you look. You're a true like best of fitness. Like it's, how's that though when you're dieting down and then you're like, oh, I'm also going to flip up in there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so that'll be interesting because when I was an amateur, we didn't get judged on our bodies, which was really nice. It was literally just the routine. And then now as a pro, it's split between 70-30. So it's 70% routine, 30% posing, which is really nice because it works to my strengths. I've never done any of my stuff like super depleted, so we're gonna go through that and see how that feels. I imagine it'll be pretty difficult, but I've always said like I could do a backflip when I'm like half dead. You know what I mean? Like I've just been able to do them for my entire life.
Yeah, same.
So it'll be interesting if that runs true. But I'm just kind of like really excited for that challenge to see how it goes. But I think it's going to be something very new to me to be able to, one, be on stage and be like in a bikini, because like even on my Instagram account I'm relatively very covered, so that's the part that I'm more nervous for than say like performing my tricks more depleted.
what show are you doing?
So it's between two. I don't even know the names of them. I just know the rough date. So it'll be like mid-October and then potentially like later October, and then for sure November 17th, which is the natural show. I am competing in one open show, which is like against people who like use performance enhancing drugs or steroids, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to be natural, so that will be probably not where I perform the best, just because. And then hopefully the natural show, I'll be able to perform a little bit better because I'll be against people who are natural like me. But yeah.
How does that feel, if you don't mind me asking it? Like, we'll cut this if you don't want, but how does it feel going against, like, that's the weird thing about bodybuilding. It's like the one sport that everyone knows, everyone does drugs. Well, not everyone, of course, like you're a great example, but how does it feel going in knowing like you will always be behind the 8 ball just because of your own personal beliefs?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think if I was competing in, say, any other category like wellness, physique, or whichever, I would be like, no bueno, because it's just not fair. And I think it's really hard to step into something where you know, like, you literally have no chance. With my category, though, having the routine weighted at 70%, I do feel like I'll still be able to do decently well. As long as I come first in routine round, that's what I'm aiming for. And then obviously physique round in the open division, I don't know how I'm going to place, but as long as I have that performance type goal, I think I'll be okay. But it does feel a little scary because you're like, well, how's it going to go? But it'll be fine.
And I have a question because I'm not very familiar with bodybuilding. Like, I'm always fascinated in the prep. When you say, okay, I started prep, what does that entail for you?
Oh my gosh, it's like a full like nutrition cardio workout program, and it starts with like literally the smallest thing. So I had to get like all new supplements just to like follow it. So I take supplements in the morning and then my pre-workout. But then I also have like a morning drink, which is absolutely disgusting. It's greens, apple cider vinegar, lemon, turmeric, glutamine, and it's just, you mix it all up and you drink it warm, not even cold. So you can't even like mask anything.
Wow.
So that's how I start my day. And then I have fasted cardio 3 to 4 times a week. And then I have a very different training style of programs. So in terms of it, it's to help me build, is how she worded it, to like make me actually like look strong. Because like right now I am very strong, but if you look at me, I'm still pretty petite. So this is just kind of like chasing the pump each workout pretty much, which is something that I don't do during my workouts. So it's a very different feeling to just kind of go till failure for most of my movements. And my workouts take probably a good 20, 30 minutes longer because I'm adding a warm-up of cardio for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm doing 15 to 20 after my routines or like after my training every single time. So it's just a lot more time consuming for me.
Right now, because just doing the math, you said in October you'll probably be competing. So about like 6 months, 5 months out. So are you really, even right now, because I even remember back when I did, it was kind of depending on the person, like you got really strict maybe a month, 2 months out, but like out there, like right now, are you super strict diet-wise? Or like it's just, yeah, wow.
Yeah, so the reason why I waited so long to go into it is because I knew if I was going to go into something, I wanted to go 100%. Like I didn't want to vary at all. So I'm following everything like to the T exactly. Yeah. And so even though this is technically my off season, because I'm doing a 2-month like bulk, and so my coach was like, well, you can be like 90%, but I know myself that if I'm 90%, I'll like, 85, 80, and I'll slowly dwindle down. So if I just stay 100, I know it'll be great. So yeah, I'm measuring everything out. Everything is pre-planned, so it's not like I'm following a macro style program. It's like pre-planned meals that I have to follow every single day.
I also think that's easier. I remember there was a phase talking about like old fitness ones where it went from like super bro meals to like if it fits your macros. And I was like, honestly, I feel that's exhausting when you're depleted. I think it's almost easier to just be told you just got to eat this. And it's boring, but it's temporary.
Yeah, exactly. It's all temporary. And I do think it's easier to just follow something. Because when I was having to make up my own macros, I was like, oh, shoot, like, I don't know where to fit everything in. Whereas this is literally meal 1, meal 2, all the way to meal 5, I think. So, yeah.
Well, I think we're both excited. I can't wait to see you in it. I mean, like, when was the last time you were in a show? I feel like it's been a while.
2019 in June. I competed at the Toronto Pro Show. So it's been a number of years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Come back. Exciting.
Yeah, very long time ago.
What made you want to get back into it?
Well, there's the whole like slight pressure from the bodybuilding world, because I know there's a couple people who used to comment on my social media being like, oh, what a waste, she got her pro card and she's not even using it. So that kind of got into my head a little bit, where I was like, okay, well, I do have this thing that so many people chase, and I feel like it's very like, not necessarily greedy of me, but just not professional of me, I guess, enough to like, if I have something, like I should use it and at least perform once. So I think that's kind of like where the idea of like, okay, let's get back into that world, do my pro debut, and then see how I feel mentally after my first pro show, and then kind of take it from there if I want to continue in that world or just be like one and done.
They'll be like, she's coming out of retirement.
Yeah. Psych! No, I'm kidding.
And she's right back.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done. I'm going to continue.
I'm good.
Yeah. I like Instagram instead.
Pull a Tom Brady.
Yeah, literally.
Now, I'm going to ask, because I find something funny about me and Sav is one Canadian, one American. You are also a fellow Canadian, and I was interested, what are the differences you find between being, like, a lack of better terms, influencer in Canada versus, like, when you see, like, the American? Like, do you feel a difference? Like, I feel a little bit of a difference between the two.
I feel a little bit of a difference between the two. I feel like Americans tend to have this, like, influencer-esque about them. Do you know what I mean? Like they carry themselves a little bit differently. I feel like Toronto, because I've really only met Toronto creators mostly, have more of a just like, yeah, like I create and I'm here type vibe. Whereas if you go to certain places, and granted I've only ever been to like New York and LA, really, and communicate with a lot of influencers out there, have a more like, I'm an influencer type feel. So I think that's what it is. But all the ones that I know very closely are very much like myself. So like Savannah has been like amazing. You're very Canadian to me.
Yeah. Oh, yay. Thank you. I'm the honorary Canadian.
Yeah.
I clearly hang out with a lot of Canadians.
Yeah.
So
You love us. You love us.
Yeah.
Can't get enough.
But you are totally right. I mean, even that's like, I live in Orange County and I would go to LA, and like even from Orange County to LA, it's a different game. Like those meccas of it, I feel like those people almost have to do that to survive. It's like a dog eat dog world. But I've always loved, even like I admire about you, and I've told you this, that like you are very humble and like realistic with everything. Yeah. And also like, I think what made you so successful is you were like, oh, I will give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I love to collaborate. Like you, even I remember when we first met at Whitney's event a couple years ago, you were like, guys, let's all collaborate. And it was a joke because we're like, do we just stand there while you flip? Because none of us could do anything.
Yeah, like you just want us to be the embarrassing person beside you.
I remember you did one with Kat and Ken, and they literally just were like, yeah. But I just love that because I feel like you are totally right. And sometimes that world can be very like their own egos, or like, you know, we've talked about when people bail on you, or it's just not what it seems, where you are very genuine. Keltie's very genuine. Those are my only Canadians I really know in the space, but I will agree that you guys definitely do humble yourself and hold yourself differently.
Or do you find, and maybe this is just me, I feel a big difference. It's kind of what you were saying is in the States, especially the big cities, LA and New York, people say influencer unironically. Like people are like, oh, I'm an influencer. Just like, as in it's like, I'm an actor, I'm a firefighter. If I, like, people only use the term influencer, like, as a joke in Canada. It's like, it's not that it's not taken seriously, but, like, no one would be like, hi, I'm an influencer.
You do cringe at it, where I don't think it's cringy.
See, like, I'm like, don't
I cringe at influencer. I cringe at it, not gonna lie. Content creator, I'll own that all day long.
Same.
Influencer,
Same, yeah.
I cannot. Influencer is almost like the classic, like, buy my product. That's what I think of influencer. Whereas content creator, the creator side of it just makes it seem a little bit more like there's more to it. You know, there's a creative side to it. We think about it because realistically, like you guys both know, there's so much thought and process that goes into creative content that an influencer, I feel, is just like a quick pick. Like, here's a bottle of whatever. Whereas a creator will like integrate it a little bit more creatively, whether it's like a hair tie or a perfume bottle or whatever it is. It's just like a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel like an influencer's job is just to influence people to buy products. Like you said, it's like, here's my swipe up link, this is what I do. Versus a content creator does something completely different, but has to pay the bill. So every once in a while, be like, this is sponsored, here's my commercial. And that's how I've always viewed it. And I don't know if it's like, in Canada, like, no, I've never heard a Canadian say I'm an influencer with a straight face.
Yeah.
But in the States.
Yeah, I've never heard it. It took me a long time to even call myself a content creator, to be honest. Like, I think I just started doing it like maybe a year ago, but for the longest time I was like, yeah, I have an Instagram page. It's like I kind of post here and there. Like I wouldn't even mention it most of the time, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You know what I say is I'm an online personal trainer.
That's, you are.
Technically that is what I am. And then if they want to know like, oh, how do you do that? Then I'm like, oh, I make these videos. But I feel like that's probably like the best, most normal way to just be like, I'm an online personal trainer. I'm certified. I train people. So that's where, and then once they look into more of it and they're like, oh, wait, I saw you on this. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's also what I like to do. But I get where it can be, that world can be very strange. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It is just a word.
So speaking of Canada versus US, you have something very special going on. It's playoff season in Toronto, and I missed that the environment. How's it being in Toronto right now?
The game yesterday was insane. Like they had, like where Jurassic Park is usually for the Raptors. Yep. They made it for like the Leafs. I don't know what it's called because I'm not a hockey girl, but it was so cold yesterday, and it was packed full of people. Like everyone was out there, and the crowd was like insanely wild. Like the vibes are so immaculate. Like, I didn't know hockey fans were like die-hard hockey fans, but they are crazy. So the vibes have been really fun.
If you ever want to experience something cool, Toronto, it has its big stadium that the basketball and hockey teams play at, and there's this little like bubble. That's what you say in Jurassic Park, and they play on the big screen. So even if you don't go in, you can just go stand there and watch on the big screen, and there's this massive crowd. And when playoffs come, usually it's just a little crowd, and it goes further and further down the street. By the time you get thick into the playoffs, I remember I was there when the Raptors won, and it was like 3 blocks deep of just this crowd watching. And they're like, I don't think there's many cities on earth. I guess there's tailgating in the States, but I was like, people, and it's freezing cold, like you said. Like it's not like people like enjoying barbecue. I mean, these people are in like parkas.
Yeah, they're in like winter jackets, like trying to stay warm. It's so cold out there. but so fun.
And this is a very random question, but it came to my brain. How did you get into mobility, flexibility? Like, were you a gymnast in the past?
Yeah,
And it
so I
came
was a
natural?
gymnast. Yeah, because I think when we were gymnasts, I didn't even realize this at the time, but we used to do like these things where we'd like roll back onto our shoulders, so like candlesticks, and then we'd stand up on one leg and jump, and that's pretty much like a pistol squat. So I had the mobility from way back then. And then in terms of doing it on my Instagram, I think I just had seen someone do a dragon pistol, and I was like, I feel like I can do that. And then I went to go did it, couldn't do it. And I was like, huh. And then I made it a goal. And now dragons are like my favorite thing to do in the entire world. Like there's such an aesthetic movement with the leg going around, and they look so cool. So I think mobility was just something where I would see different variations of just something I could do. And I was like, let me try that. And then now I've created them all into like different challenges and movements and sequences. And people love those on Monday. And that's why like I deem Monday my mobility Monday, where I just like do whatever sequence I want that day.
I will say I genuinely love them. I've tried them so many times, only posted a few times because I usually end up on my face, but I've experienced many Monday mobilities. But I have one thing, and I don't even know how to phrase this, because you're someone who's so flexible. And I've spent the last couple of years trying to gain flexibility. As someone who doesn't have that gymnastics background, I came stiff as a board. So I've slowly I've been able to do the splits like a couple times. But for me to do the splits or do any kind of stretching, it's like work to get down there. Like, let me explain, like, you got to warm up and slowly, and it's like so much mind thinking and all this thoughts, versus for me, it looks effortless to you. But like, same with someone who's really good at squats and can lift heavy, it looks effortless. So is it still hard to get down, or are you at that point that you just drop and your body just moves like that?
Yeah, I can go into splits cold. Like I don't even have to warm up to do it. Like it's one of those things.
Wow.
And like I remember when I was in university, way back when I used to like drink heavily, like I passed out in the splits. Like it's like one of those things. My body just like stays there. Like it does
Your
not
body's
hurt
just
at
like
all. Yeah, it's just like, okay, here we are.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it's pretty much like if like for running for you, probably like you run all the time. It's so
Yeah.
if I have to run, it's a mental battle. Like I can barely get 2.5 kilometers. It's hard for me. But so it'd be the same thing. As if I worked on it, it would become easier. But it's a mental battle.
That is crazy.
I have a question for those that want to get into their splits. How long do you think realistically it would take them, / what would they really have to do?
I would say it's on average, if you stretch every day, or not necessarily every day, but like 4 to 5 times a week, it's taken people that I know like around 3 months. It's not too bad. And that's just consistently doing like, like those front lunge stretches, like trying to focus on like really pushing your hips downwards instead of just like sitting there passively. And then also doing like a combination of static and dynamic things. So as much as you are just like holding things, also working the range of movement, where say if you're in the front lunge and you decide to like push your if you're in your back lunge for the hamstring and you like push your heel forward and then drag it back, things like that where you're actually like working in that end mobility position is going to help you a lot faster than just passively just sitting in stretches. I think a lot of people too don't like to be in that uncomfortable pain of stretching. Ideally for stretching, if you bent your finger backwards and you feel that tension of like, oh my gosh, this is kind of uncomfortable, you want to basically hold that position for the full 45 to a minute. And a lot of people don't do that. They like sit there for like 10 seconds. They're like, okay, that's too much. And they come out of it. So it's just being used to being uncomfortable pretty much in stretching.
That's a good point. I like that. I mean, I did gymnastics when I was like a kid. But when I was in middle school, I did like a floor routine and I had to learn how to do the splits. And I remember it kind of took me that long, and it was just like grinding every day at like the uncomfortable stretching. And I remember I got it. And I'm like the least flexible person you'll ever meet. And I was so proud. And then the season ended and I lost it. It's like, I feel like you can lose it so fast if it's, I mean, I only did it for like a quarter or something if you think about it.
Yeah, I would say you definitely can lose them. Because even for me, if I don't stretch, because my left leg's my bad leg, quote unquote, if I don't work on it, I'll go into it and I'll be like, ooh, this is a little bit stiffer than before. But then I just have to sit in it a little bit longer and I'm back to normal. But definitely one of those things where it's like, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Just like everything else, pretty much.
Okay, that's a great mobility tip right there. But what are some just mobility tips in general? Like whether it be like, I know the classic is like tight hips because we all sit all day. But is there any like mobility tips you think like you just see for the general population and you're like, we all need to be doing this?
Honestly, for me, Two, like I need to work on my upper body mobility. I think all of us focus so much on our lower body because we use it a lot more and like we feel it a lot more. But I'd say upper body, if you tried to do like, what is it, this stretch where you put one arm behind you, even for me, I'm a little tight there because I do tend to neglect my upper body just because the stretches are a little bit more boring and you feel the progress a little bit slower, in my opinion, for upper body. So I think as much as we focus on our hips and like our glutes, we should also be focusing on our shoulders because it's the same joint. It's that ball and socket. It's going to get just as tight in the overuse and everything. So that's my opinion.
I love it. Do you also, just to make us all feel a bit better, do you have one mobility or like body part that's a lot least mobile? I don't know what would be the grammar, but do you have like, people are like, oh, I have really bad calves. Do you have a really bad, you're like, I'm not really good at stretching in the splits or doing anything like that?
What I'm really bad at. Oh, I'm bad at using my hips dynamically, if that makes sense. So like I use my hips in like back flips, but that's because I've done it from a kid. But if you ask me to use them in like a CrossFit kipping movement, terrible. Or any Olympic lifting where I have to use my hips, like every single person I've ever worked with has been like, your hips are literally asleep. Like they don't understand it. Even in golf, my hips are asleep. So for being mobile and strong, for some reason, it just doesn't transition into anything powerful for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What other sports do you like? Because I know you were dabbling with golf.
I know, I'm back into golf. I have a golf lesson today.
Nice.
I love golf because it's so different from everything else that I do. It's so much slower and everything is so small for adjustments, which is very different than some of the other things I do. I also really enjoy rock climbing. I got into that. Bouldering specifically, so fun. And then I do Pilates. I'm a Pilates girl. I love Pilates. Big advocate.
You have been on a
reformer.
Pilates kick.
Yeah. For about almost a year, I would say now. I love reformer only. I don't think I've ever done like a floor Pilates class, but the reformer that's my jam. I love that.
Are you ever into yoga? Sometimes I feel like mobility girlies get roped in with yoga girlies because of it.
No, I'm not a yoga girly. I don't know what it is. I've tried hot yoga, almost passed out. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not for me. And then I've tried regular yoga. I think if I did a very specific one that was more active and dynamic, I would enjoy it. But I just find some of the holds, I'm just kind of like, I want to do something else.
That's fair. Like it's almost too slow for you.
Yeah, it's a little bit too slow for me. And personally for me, I also find meditating a little bit harder for me. So when the class starts with like a slight meditation, ends with a meditation, I feel like I get mentally out of it because I'm like, oh, I'm so bad at meditating. This is not going to work for me. That's another reason.
That's fair.
Yeah. We're talking a lot about all these little tips, but we love to ask our audience, or ask our guests, not ask our audience. They're not here. This is not live. What is your current workout routine? And the more detailed, obviously, we're not saying you have to expose your secrets, but people do like to know, like, on Monday you're training legs. Are you doing cardio before? Are you doing an hour of stretching? Like, what's your weekly workout routine kind of look like?
Yeah, so right now I'm doing about a 5-day split for bodybuilding, and then I have 2 calisthenic days worked in, plus 1 day of Pilates, and then flip training. So it starts on Monday, that's my leg day, and that's quad and glute focus. So each workout always starts out with like 5-10 minutes on the treadmill, probably 5-10 minutes of stretching, and then about an hour to an hour and a half of the workout portion, and then a 10 to 20 minute walk after. And then Tuesday is going to be chest and back, and the same warm-up includes. And then Wednesday is my rest day. Thursday, I'm going to do hamstrings only and then do flip training as well as Pilates because I have 3 things that day, so I keep it just lighter, just with one body group. And then, what day are we on now? Friday? Yeah, Friday will be chest and shoulders, and then Saturday's rest day. Sunday will be the last day, which is back and shoulders.
What's your least favorite and most favorite day?
My favorite day is chest and back because I get to bench that day. I love that day. My least favorite is the leg day, the first leg day, the Monday. That's why it's on Monday, just so I can get it over with.
I always find it so fascinating because we were just talking to Libby, and her least favorite is chest. And she's like, I just never train chest. Then to hear you come on training chest, and I just love hearing that. Like, we all have different honestly, even though something fun about chest, like it feels like you're actually like lifting. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean?
Lifting weight this way. I don't know what it is, but it's like you feel powerful. Like if you were trapped under a building, you could push off of it. I don't know. I just love chest. It's my favorite. I think too, it's that slight like PR chase of like wanting to get a heavy bench for some reason. I've been chasing 185 for a while, and I'm close to getting it. So I think that's also why like my chest is very high right now.
Another thing I think actually my audience I'm selfishly going to ask for, because I've done a lot of like handstand training, and like I'm someone who can't do it, and we're slowly on this journey and I fall on and off. Someone who's trying to do handstands, like a complete beginner, any advice starting off?
Yeah, so for handstand people, I feel like you guys go in like hot and heavy right away, try to train them like every single day, but then you notice like your wrists are sore, your elbows are sore, all that stuff. So for me, my biggest tip to beginners is to start with a lot of foundational work first. So like a lot of core engagement stuff where you're doing hollow body holds, or even just like alignment drills, like looking at yourself in the mirror to kind of get that mind-body connection. Because realistically, when we go upside down, a lot of the time you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a perfect handstand. And you like look at your video, you're like bent and super arched or something. And you're like, that's not what I was doing. So working a lot on that stuff that's actually not on your hands, and then eventually working in handstand work. So if you work handstands, say 3 days a week, I would make like at least a circuit of like 3 things. So a core exercise, an alignment exercise, and then actually going upside down. And kind of repeat that for about like a month, and then change it up where you're doing different drills. But you definitely need that long-term progress in order to see any type of results, and also for you to feel how your body feels in space. It just takes a while, that's all. So those are my main tips.
That's something that's so foreign to me, that like learning like to not take up space, but like just be in space, like upside down. It's just a foreign feeling. I'm just like every time I've had a half decent handstand and I'm up there for maybe 4 seconds, then I just panic. I'm like, whoa, I'm just like here. Yeah, it's the most bizarre, and it blows my mind that you and like Morgan, like watching you guys specifically, I'm just like mind blown. You just chill up there, just chill upside down,
and then you guys like go into the splits, or whatever, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I think it's such a cool talent, and I think at first people view handstands and they're like, I can do it, like they think it's so easy, and then you try it and you're like, no. And like you said, you think like, I nailed it, that was perfect, and you're like bent a weird way. Like, I love handstands in the water. Like when I'm in a pool, I am that girl that's like Michael, watch me do a handstand, and he's like, that was not a handstand. And in my mind I was like, bitch, I was a gymnast, this is perfect. And he's like, no, you look horrible. But you don't realize it, you know?
Yeah, because you're upside down and you're like, I'm amazing right now.
You're
no,
just
I think that too.
Literally floating in the water. Yeah, and I'm like, well, I'm upside down and I'm stretching, so I try and like point my toes, call it good.
Yeah. You're like, I feel tension somewhere. It must be a handstand.
I must look just like Taylor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, fully. Keep telling yourself that.
I'll send you a video next time I do it. Be like, Tay, teach me.
Yeah. Honestly, I should come up with you guys and we'll just do a little handstand workshop. That'd be fun.
Please. I would love that so much.
I was listening to your most recent YouTube video, your Q&A, and you were saying that you're going to take like a little sabbatical so you can focus on prep.
Yeah, because originally my goal for 2023 was to do a workshop every single month. And then when I got into prep, I was like, let's reel it back a little bit, because I don't think I'll be able to do that and still stay the 100%. I think if there is, like I said on my YouTube channel, like if there's a trip that's already planned, so I am going to LA for the Fit Expo in August, and then I'm going back for my calisthenics competition in July. Those type of occasions, because I'm already there, I'll definitely host. But for me to fly and like change my schedule, I think would be more unlikely until after November.
Yeah, totally. But that sounds so fun. I think that's awesome. Do they get to meet other people as well when they go to your workshops and like kind of connect on that?
Yeah, I keep my workshops small with 10 people, so one, I don't feel too overwhelmed and I can really spend time with every single person and give them feedback directly for themselves. I feel like when I've had workshops that are like 15, 20, I don't feel like I've been able to give enough information, so that's why I like a smaller group. Plus, it's a little bit more intimate where people, again, like remember each other's names, they follow each other on Instagram, like, you know, it's just a little bit more of a community-based type workshop, which I really like. So, and everyone from different levels comes. Like I remember I had one from my LA one, people from the Philippines had been visiting LA and had come, and they were like, amazing at handstands, and I had some people who had never even done them before. So it's nice to have different levels of handstands where people can kind of see like where they can get to, or like relate to like when they started and kind of share some of their advice as well.
That also made me think, because I had a little panic there for a second, because when you said like taking sabbatical, I thought you just meant you weren't going to post like I didn't realize you meant the workshops, like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and I was just like, wait, what? And so it just got my mind spiraling, because first of all, I I guess you wouldn't be like deleting all YouTube videos, but I was like, I use a lot of Taylor's YouTube videos for my stretching. I don't know why my mind like panicked right away. I was like, she's gonna private her YouTube videos.
You know what it's called?
Yeah.
Being a dedicated fan.
I am. I'm a true Taylor stan. I was like, I'm account to a good percent of your views, but it makes me also wonder, oh, of course, what is your favorite platform? So because you are good at like, obviously you've got your viral Instagrams and TikToks, but you got great resources on YouTube. Like, where do you like to spread your energy?
So I love Instagram. That's my favorite platform. That's also the platform that's rewarded me the most, I would say. I hate TikTok low key. I don't know why. I just don't like that platform. I post on it though to post on it, and like I do have fun like consuming on that platform, but posting on it a little bit less fun for me. And then like I think it's again because of that whole like I feel like I have to be parts of the trend, using the trending songs, whichever.
Yeah.
YouTube is where I want to put all my attention, but I don't love long form content. I don't know why. I feel like it's more daunting to me. But even though I don't like it as much as Instagram, it's still a platform where I'm putting more of my attention towards, like more of my pre-planning, having videographers film for an edit for me, whereas like for Instagram, I mostly do it all myself. So it's kind of like a mix. I love Instagram the most, but I put more work towards YouTube.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. And next we have a game to play with you. And it's called Hit It or Quit It. And so basically, just say, if you love it, if you would hit it, or if you would quit it.
Yeah. Just kind of some trends, some fitnessy things. So number 1, because this has been all over my Explore page, cottage cheese recipes.
Quit it. That's disgusting. I don't like
Have you seen it?
No, but I don't like cottage cheese.
Oh my God, maybe it's just my Explore page, but I watched one cottage cheese ice cream recipe, and all my social media is just cottage cheese. I don't like cottage cheese. So I keep asking anyone, if I'm like, is this a me thing or is this a universal thing?
I just love how Taylor was like, that's disgusting. No. She's probably like, where did you get that?
Yeah, so random if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's weird. I love cheese except for cottage cheese and blue cheese. But other than that, love cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Round 2. Biker shorts. Hit it or quit it?
Quit it. Biker shorts look horrendous on me. Horrendous.
I was going to say, I've never seen you in a biker short.
Because it's not pretty. It's not cute.
So it made me even like think of it, because I was like, I like to go and look, and it's like, oh, what's people's like go-to outfit? Like some are legging girls, some are shorts girls. I was like, you were kind of a bit of everything. I was like, I don't notice a biker short.
No.
I didn't know if that was
Never.
intentional or not.
Because I think it's like I'm short. Like I'm only 5 feet. And so when I wear a biker short, it's just really, like it's almost to my kneecap. Like it's like real long.
The capris.
Yeah, you're more of like
Yeah.
shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a good short. Like very short. Like almost like mid thigh, like slightly higher than mid thigh. That's my go-to length.
It looks good on the short girls. Shorty
Yeah.
shorts look the best on short girls, I think.
I'll never forget, Taylor and I were doing a photo shoot with Devin and Austin and Kylie. And they put you in all these different outfits. I think was it for Black Friday? And Taylor comes out and she's like, what is this? And they put her in these shorts I've never ever seen Taylor wear. And they're like, I think they're the Vital baggy shorts. So like, I feel like you have to be, I would say you have to be really tall, because otherwise they just look like you're trying to wear a skirt, like people are confused by it. But if you're like Keltie, where you're like tall and lanky, it's like those are shorts, running shorts. But like even at 5'5", I was like, I can't wear these things. And you were just like, wow, they really missed the mark on what I wear in my content.
Yeah. First of all, I think it was like a bright orange shirt and purple shorts on my Instagram. I don't wear color. And so for me, I was like, this is really bright. And then I tried them on and I was like, these are really baggy. And I was like, oh no. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite look of the day, because it was, again, like not really my style in terms of coloring and then also fit. But it was so funny, because you're right. Like I've literally never worn that stuff ever.
Yeah. It was so fun though. Like even, to see what they envisioned us wearing. Like Kylie and I were both like constantly in these like bubblegum pink blues or whatever, which is like what we usually wear. But even sometimes they give me that, I'm like, I can't wear that. That would look not good on my body. And they'd be like, oh, okay, we'll pivot. But like, it's just funny when you go to something and you're like, dress me. And they're like, this is interesting. This is what you pick out.
Yeah. By the end, I think we had gotten some outfits that was like, they had given me like a short, which was nice. And I was like, yes, this is me.
Yeah. I feel like once they realized, they worked with it. The stylists were really good at being like, oh yeah, okay, I see your style now.
Yeah. I always find that so funny about body types and like different clothing, especially like brands that have different, because like when those Vital shorts came out, I was like, finally, these are the best things that ever happened. And I was hyping them up like crazy, and everyone else like, these are goddamn awful. And I was like, wait, what's wrong with me? And then I put on everything else. Like as soon as like there's so many like the short shorts and all these, I'm like, cool, like this is this looks R-rated because of my long legs when I wear the short shorts. Like, people are like, you're going out in your underwear? I'm like, I'm not. How is Taylor wearing these? And like, so it's just so funny. There's no wrong body type, no wrong fit. Things just look different on us.
Do you remember this was a trend like maybe a year or two ago where it was like really, really short shorts, and it was like a powerlifting short. And I remember I got a pair sent, and I literally looked like you said, it was underwear. And I was like, I cannot, like, camel, the back, I don't even know. I was like, I can't even sleep in these. It's so revealing. But then some people, I'd see them wear it and like look amazing, and then they freaking power lift in it. I'm like, something would pop out for me. Like,
oh yeah, I bend over and it's a free show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Demi used to wear those ones because I remember Demi wore them all the time, and so I got a pair too. And then she like does like obviously flips and everything like that, and I put mine on and I was like, ooh, this is not for me. Because same thing, I was like, something's gonna like somewhere in my cartwheel, like something will be exposed. But she, like, I even remember when I met her, I was like, how do you wear those? She's like, they're my favorite short in the world. So she loved those ones that came out. I was like, I could not.
And with her body type too, I feel like she could really pull them off.
Yeah, she looks so strong in them. They look so good on her. Yeah.
So just different body types. Celebrate them all. On to the next one. Protein bars.
Oh, hit it. I love protein bars.
Favorite one?
Right now, I have to be careful how I say it because sometimes it sounds like I'm saying a steroid. Anna Bar.
Anna. It does sound like
I was like,
be careful. Be careful. She isn't natty, guys. Exposed. Title of this.
Literally.
Taylor's not natty.
Taylor uses Anna Bar. But no, literally. But yeah, that's my favorite one. Specifically, the s'mores one tastes so. It's like literally a chocolate bar. It's so good.
Ooh, okay.
That sounds into that. Okay, next one, box gems.
Quit it because I don't really do them. I don't think it's like a go-to exercise for me.
That's fair. I don't know a lot of people that love them.
I do.
Oh.
You do?
There you go.
Oh.
I made that one.
Because it's the one thing I'm good at. Like, I'm not the strongest. You know what I mean? I'm not the most mobile, but like jumping, I'm like, watch out, baby. It's the one thing I could beat you at. Next up, another one. Hip thrusts.
Hit it. I like hip thrusts. But recently, I used to hate them.
I've switched.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, Skims.
Ooh, I don't have an opinion on this one because I've never tried them. So I guess hit it. I mean, no, quit it. I don't know. We'll say quit it.
Girl, like the
never tried them.
bralettes. Yeah. The bralettes are worth it.
They are.
That's all I wear.
Because I've gone on the website, literally built a cart, and then I just never checked out. I don't know why. But I was like, do I want them or do I not want them? You
Worth
know?
it.
But you're saying it's worth
I get it. Because in my mind, I'm like, I used to be the girl that would buy like the Target t-shirt bras because they were like $8. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, why would I invest in like a nice bralette or a nice bra or something? And then I was like, I'm gonna splurge. It was when I got my fake boobs. So I was like, I'm gonna treat them with care because they were expensive. And so I splurged, got Skims, and I'm so obsessed with them that I 2 years later reordered the like pairs that or the bralettes that I love and like ordered new ones because I trust them because I'm so wildly picky, but that 10 out of 10 recommend.
The best. They look so good. They're so comfy. They last forever.
There's no like wires. It's amazing.
Okay, I'll check out my cart finally, and then I'll tag both of you guys. I'll be like, I did it.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get a Skims sponsorship.
Hitting the bars for 10%. No. They try. They're like, nothing's working. We're like,
no. Everyone do it, and then maybe like their like SEO guys would be like, everyone just keeps using this hitting the bars. What's this?
Yeah.
So everyone just use the code, even though it doesn't work.
Yeah. A girl can dream.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to round it up, we always love to just embarrass our guests or more think of this like therapy, a little get something off your chest. We're asking you to submit to our confession session. What you need to get off your chest.
I think for me, probably not the most embarrassing, but I feel like every single person on Instagram who like wakes up with their like get ready with me routines and like make their bed and like blah, blah. I literally roll out of bed, don't make my bed, brush my teeth, and like do my green routine or whatever, and then get out the door. Like I don't have like a calm morning. Like it's frantic for me. I would say that's my biggest confession because I feel like everyone else on Instagram shows fitness people being so put together, and that's not me.
Yeah. When did fitness become productivity? You know, keep them separate.
Yeah.
Leave that for the productivity girlies.
Also, why does everybody have a bubble like headband? Do you know what I'm talking about? These headbands that they're extremely they bubble. So like even when they pack them, I'm like, that just took up so much space in your suitcase. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like, and they're like fuzzy.
Yes, they're fuzzy, and like I just do not understand them.
It's because there's a pack on Amazon, and they do come, and you can squish them down. I got like one at like Winners.
You have one?
Yeah, because the only reason I got it is because I got influenced by these people on TikTok. Because it came with, I just wanted the wrist, and the wrist is genius because you're washing your face, and you go like this, and the water goes all down your arm.
Oh, I've always wondered what those were for.
Yeah, and I didn't either till I looked into it, and it goes down and makes your shirt wet. But you have it, and it stops all the water from going down your arm. And then it just comes with a matching headband. So I'm like, oh, we'll use the headband.
Because, like, I feel like Whitney always does. Yeah. She always has the wristbands. And I'm like, what are these bands for?
Yeah.
I was wildly confused. You just
Same. Till I Googled it. I was like, I need this, and bought them for $20 off Amazon. Baby blue.
Wow.
Great purchase.
Wow.
See, I just use scrunchies. I was like, I can DIY this. So I just use scrunchies on my wrist.
That works. Nice. That works.
Scrunchies. That's a great idea. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, I have so many. All different colors. They don't match. Like one's peach and one's pink, but it doesn't matter. It works.
There you go. Well, do it yourself, girly. Well, Taylor, thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we're excited to see you with the bodybuilding. Where can everybody find you and follow you?
Every single username is the same for all my platforms, just LittleTFitness.
I love it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for hitting the bars with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.